If you've tried everything to lose weight with thyroid disease, like keto, fasting, cutting calories, and nothing has worked, this will explain why. There are 5 types of thyroid weight gain, and once you know which one you are, you'll finally start seeing some results. First, meet Sarah. She struggled for about 2 years. She was eating like 1,200 calories a day, doing cardio every single day. She cut out sugar and gluten, but her weight wouldn't budge. Within 10 minutes of reviewing her labs and symptoms, I knew her type. 5 weeks later, 12 pounds down, more energy, less frustration. By the end of this video, you'll know your type and what to do about it. My name is Dr. Alan Christianson. I'm a board certified naturopathic endocrinologist with 30 years experience treating thyroid disease naturally. Here's why this matters. Most programs and even doctors miss this. Not all thyroid-related weight gain is the same. Your thyroid connects to your immune system, stress hormones, blood sugar, and gut health. Once you know your type, you can stop wasting time on the wrong plan and focus on what will work well for you. Let's go through those 5 types. Type 1, this is the autoimmune type. Here's how you can recognize if this is you. You've had high thyroid antibodies, such as antithyroid peroxidase, antithyroglobulin. Some people with this type don't have high antibodies, but they do have signs of Hashimoto's on their ultrasound. We can also see some classic symptoms like fatigue, brain fog, hair loss, puffiness. People react badly to foods even when they're on medication. Why you can't lose weight here is that inflammation is blocking your metabolism. Your body is stuck in defense mode, not fat burning mode. The fix is to lower antibodies. The best documented ways to do that are focusing on low iodine foods. I explain how in the thyroid reset diet, getting adequate micronutrients. Big ones here, selenium, adequate vitamin D, inositol, nigella can be helpful, and reducing the total inflammatory load in your body. This can be things like getting more omega-3 fats, doing a lot of good polyphenols like curcumin and also berries in your diet. And then testing to see if there's big food categories that may be an issue for you. For some, gluten and dairy can make a big difference. The big insight here, though, is that when the antibodies go down, the metabolism improves. I've got a free download called The Foods That Lower Antibodies. Take a look in the description. This is about the medication. How to recognize yourself. You're on medication but still tired and gaining weight. Your TSH is normal or below range and you still feel off. Your doctor keeps tweaking your dose, but it just doesn't seem to help. Here's what's going on. You don't need medication. You're on the wrong dose. You're on the wrong type. Something in here is happening. And this is really odd, and you probably won't hear this anywhere else, but unnecessary medication or excessive medication can block your weight more than too little medication can. There have been studies showing this. Being over-medicated or unnecessarily medicated makes you unable to lose weight. What's happening is that on excess medication, your body starts to resist thyroid hormones. And that resistance means you've got an impaired metabolic rate. So the trick here is really optimizing, not just maximizing, not always thinking more is better. It isn't about trying to get to some optimal level of T3 or optimal level of T4. It's knowing if you need medication, and if so, being on the right ones, but not more than that. Also being aware if thyroid autoimmunity is present, because that could be a big factor for you. Third type is heightened stress response. Now, we think about this when the weight gain is especially visceral and someone has what we call the wired but tired pattern. They don't have good energy throughout the day, but they get wired and can't unwind and sleep properly at night. Some classic symptoms, often wake like 2 to 3 in the morning, your mind just racing like a alarm went off, strong cravings for carbohydrates or sugar, and noticing that weight gain is worse after stressful events. What's happening here is that this is an issue of the cortisol response. Your body should have a good cortisol slope, whereas cortisol is higher in the morning and lower at night. If that slope doesn't work right, your body will be stuck into a storage mode. And regardless of thyroid hormone levels, your body doesn't use thyroid hormones in ways that boost the metabolism. So the fix here is thinking about resetting your cortisol rhythm, getting consistent sleep, getting sunlight in the morning, darkness at night, thinking about adaptogenic herbs, things like rhodiola, ashwagandha can have a place. And movement is important, but sometimes gentle activity is better than high intensity cardio. If you want to go a lot deeper into this, I wrote one of my earlier books, The Adrenal Reset Diet. And that one will help you know which of the 4 adrenal levels you're in: stressed, wired, tired, or crashed, or thriving. And then also good ways to help dietary strategies reverse that. The general dietary strategy is getting adequate, healthy carbohydrate, mostly from glucose, and especially in the evening. Now, the 4th type is blood sugar abnormalities. How to know if this is you? You feel hangry. You feel really bad when it's before a meal, and maybe right during or after a meal, you feel okay for a bit, but it doesn't last. Energy levels are unstable, especially with afternoon energy crashes. Maybe you get cravings for sugar or caffeine around that time. There can be a family history of diabetes or prediabetes. So, what's going on here is that insulin resistance is often causing leptin resistance, and the signals for hunger and fullness are broken. They're not really working right. The fix here is prioritizing protein. You want to get at least 20 to 30 grams per meal, and then time starch, time carbs strategically. Don't have them alone, and don't do none. If you do no carb, that can actually make this harder, believe it or not. The superpower food to add in is resistant starch. Think about cooked and cooled potatoes, oats, green bananas, white beans. These are powerful. They're the best kind of carbohydrate for making your blood sugar stable for up to the full day afterwards. Be doing some movement after eating and have some extra liquids before eating. Those are all things that make your blood sugar fluctuate less. Now, the 5th type is the gut type. There's something off with digestive health. You can recognize yourself here if you're prone to bloating or IBS, or constipation or diarrhea. Maybe there's multiple food sensitivities. Or the other big sign is that your weight can swing around a lot, like many pounds in just a day. Inflammation in the gut is causing fluid retention, and it may also be disrupting thyroid hormone metabolism. And what that means is that thyroid hormones are stored in the gut and they're brought out as the body uses them. But if gut chemistry is off, your body can't use them properly. So what's the big fix? The biggest single factor is a wider variety of dietary fibers. You often hear about the word fiber, singular, but it's a category. There's at least 30 or more types of fibers we can get in a healthy diet. And so many people, based upon well-intended advice, their diets end up getting so restrictive, they're only getting a couple of those fiber types, and you really want to get a wider range. The way to do that is to have, first off, a variety of food categories that have fibers. So that's going to include legumes, whole grains, nuts, seeds, fruits, vegetables. Think about different plant types, the roots, the stems, the leaves. You want to get a variety of categories. The next step is getting variety within the categories. So different types of each of those. And if you're at a place you don't tolerate some of those categories, it often seems like the easiest thing is to avoid it, but that doesn't let things get better. The best solution is almost always to have some, even if it's tiny amounts. Let's say you don't tolerate legumes. Try a pinto bean a day. That sounds silly, but really, there have been studies done on using amounts that small to help your body get used to foods again. So if there's things you don't tolerate, don't think that you shouldn't have them ever. Think about the smallest amounts that are tolerable and then gradually build upon that. But the wider the range of your dietary diversity is, the wider the range of your gut flora diversity is, and the better that will do on regulating metabolism. So let's put this together. Most people have a couple of those. There can be 2 or 3 of these that can be relevant. Sarah's biggest factors were stress and blood sugar. The biggest needle mover for her was getting morning light. So within your first hour of being awake, getting half an hour of sunlight or proxy sunlight. Proxy sunlight is 10,000 lux of light intensity from a special light box. Being outside works, but if you're somewhere where outside is still dark within your first hour of being awake, get some proxy light to help out during those times of year. And then resistant starch. Sarah added in RS Complete, which is a purified version of resistant starch. It's flavorless, a scoop once or twice a day, and your blood sugar is pretty well dialed in throughout the day. And that was the real ticket for her. So knowing your type and changing that, that's the part that matters. You want good, thorough labs, so detailed labs on your thyroid, your insulin, cortisol, vitamin D, iron, factors like that. Think about lowering your inflammatory load. Be aware about medications. If you need them, be sure they're optimized. You're on Not too little, not too much, just like the Goldilocks and the three bears. If you don't need them, as little as possible, and maybe even coming off. So take the top one for you, the top one of those five, focus hard on that for 3 to 4 weeks and see where that takes you. The big insight here is that specificity beats effort every time. It's not trying harder, it's doing the right thing for you. That's what really makes the biggest difference. Too often people just try harder and push more and find that it's not effective. If one type jumped out at you, drop that in the comment below if you thought that might have applied for you more so. Or if things didn't quite make sense, put that in the comments. I'll watch this and give feedback on that. Feel free to download the food guide that I talked about and choose your priorities and start out this week. And as you're watching your progress, watch your energy levels, how your clothes fit, your waist. Don't just watch the scale. If you want a step-by-step plan that covers all five of those, join my Metabolism Reset Challenge. This is especially made for those with thyroid disease. We do a free challenge most months, and I'll get a link in the description about the next one coming up, and love to see you there. So main takeaway is you're not broken. Weight loss is possible. You've got to know your type and speak your body's language. You've got this. Take great care. I hope to see you soon.